Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. And today we are going to talk about money matters. And especially if you are a startup, then this video will help you decide your next course of action. And startup is always in some sort of catch 22 situation. You have to think about technology, you have to think about differentiation, you have to basically establish yourself. There is no, background to back it up. It's only the background of the promoters that matters in this case of startup. Yet you need to make money, you need to give projections, and if you're self-funded startup, you will have a lot of trouble maintaining the cash flow. Therefore, investment is very, very important, and there are people who are searching for guys like you. And today we would like to talk about one such funding agency, which is known as India Angels Network, IAN, India Angels Network, and in particular about their new fund, which is known as IAN Alpha, which is IAN stands for India Angels Network, IAN, and the new fund is known as Alpha. And this is going to be very, very interesting if you are a startup. So let's begin our discussion, and discussion is about the IAN, which is basically the Alpha funding, which is specifically targeted for the startup community in India. If you look at the India Angels Network, they are different from other funding agencies. If you look at any other funding house, they actually look at making money. They actually look at how I can actually invest in this startup, and after 6 to 7 months, or maybe a maximum 12 months, can I exit and make my money, whatever initial investment I made, into a 2x factor. That is the driving force of all the major funding houses. However, the IAN, which is the India Angels Network, they are slightly different in their approach. Their approach has been to select the startup very, very selectively, very methodically, and then provide them funding, and also stay with them, stick around with them for longer period of time. Obviously, they also want to make money, because there is no free fund in this world. Even IAN want to make money, but their approach is slightly different. And because of this approach, they actually invest in a very selected, or they are very selective. So they actually look at your background, promoter's background. They look at the future sellability of the services or product from the startup, and therefore they are very, very keen in investing something on the new technology. So if it is something like related to environment conservation, IAN will actually provide you funding. And if you are looking at the new gen ed tech areas, if you are actually developing a startup in the education technology space, or in the healthcare space, or any space exploration, IAN, which is the India Angels Network, will be very, very keen to fund you. And as I said, they have started a new fund which is directed towards this segment, which is the new generation segment, which is related to AI, education technology, healthcare, space exploration, or even deep ocean exploration. IAN Alpha will be the fund for the choice. Now let's look at why IAN Alpha? Why not anything else? Well, IAN Alpha, first of all, they have a very strict evaluation process, and if you are in this new age technology space, you stand a better chance. So if you're a startup and you are actually making investment in AI, making investment in education, future of education, healthcare, etc., you stand a better chance to get the IAN Alpha funding. Why IAN Alpha is so exciting? Because their funding starts from $1 million and it goes up to $5 million. So anything between $1 million to $5 million is something that they are looking at. And whenever they invest in a startup, they will like to stick around with the startup. They also want to help them in their sales and marketing activities. They have other partners, or they have their own software which helps them to do lead generation. So they bring not only funding, they also bring some sort of help for the startup so that startup can succeed. Eventually, as a fund, they are looking at making money, and therefore they are also putting their neck in line, not only providing the funding, they are also saying that, okay, I'll help you do this, I will help you generate your funnel, I will help you generate business, I will help you do projections, etc. And here is the funding for it. And the funding is not small amount, it's a pretty substantial amount, $1 million to $5 million. That is the kind of funding they are looking at. And these are all early stage startup that they want to invest or support early stage startup, because that is when people make money. So they want to identify which are the early stage high tech startups in the new emerging areas, and they would like to fund them. And that is why Iron Alpha is very, very exciting. What are the other things which are happening here? The structure of the fund is also designed in such a way that it is actually going to follow your roadmap. So it should not happen that they start dictating. They actually look at the roadmap. They actually start releasing the funds at the appropriate time so that you have sufficient bandwidth in order to do your preparation as a startup and then do expansion. So therefore, this is something which is very, very mature. When I was doing reading about this Iron Alpha, I found that the funding agency, which is Iron, is appear to be very mature and especially backed by people who have been there, done that, and they also understand the challenges of the startup community. You don't want to basically have a funding agency sitting there, breathing down your neck, asking for exit policy within 6 months. That should not happen. So therefore, Iron Alpha management is quite mature. It appears they are quite mature. The amount of funding they want to make in any startup, selected startup, of course, is substantial. It's not like 50 lakhs, 1 crore. It's like starting point itself is $1 million, which is upwards of 8 crores in India, which is quite substantial. And then they would like to also bring these other services like sales and marketing, projections, also bring their ecosystem to you, so that if you're a startup and you're trying to find customers within the ecosystem, Iron Alpha, which is the fund, and Iron, which is the India Angels Network, will be able to get you that ecosystem. So that is why their structure looks quite mature, designed for the startup community. Fund size is quite substantial, and it can go up to $5 million. If it is more than $5 million, I think you will have to have some sort of, deep discussion with them. On the surface, they are very fine to invest between 1 million to 5 million in early stage startups. So they are also looking at the sustainability. I think their focus when they evaluate the startups is the sustainability. I mean, how your startup is actually following the sustainability guidelines of United Nations. So because the ESG, which is the sustainability, growth and policy planning, all of those things are becoming very, very important. And even if you set up your company today, and if you do not consider sustainability parameters, which are being followed by most of the progressive nations, most of the governments are pushing that as an agenda, because we have to live on this planet Earth, and it should not happen that you start polluting the environment. So and then sustainability also includes the social angle. What kind of job creation you're doing, your startup is indulgent, so it's not only the climate, it's also sustainability from the legal standpoint, from the regulator standpoint. And do you have a long-term plan, like 5 to 10 years plan, which is also part of sustainability. So Iron Alpha is also looking at, are you following the sustainability guidelines set by the global standards, and is your startup or the promoters have certain knowledge of the sustainability. And in fact, it looks like that they look at not only profitability, they also look at what is the background, what is the thought process of the promoters, the money which they are using, are they going to only make money out of it, or are they going to contribute to the society, and society is rapidly changing also. So Iron Alpha is looking at that as well. So they are in a major news this week. They have they are becoming very, very popular, and especially among the startup community. And this week they are in news because they are starting this alpha fund. So if you are a startup, and if you are having clear thoughts, and if you are having clear documentation and thought process, how you want to take your startup ahead, then it may be a good idea to approach Iron Alpha for funding. And if you are selected, you will get substantial amount of funding. So friends, this is something which I wanted to bring to you very quickly. Today is Monday. It is something which is very exciting for business community, and therefore I'm talking to you live. So friends, thanks for watching me today, joining me live, and I will catch you again tomorrow in the next one. Bye for now.